what you are doing from your own channel. Yeah, you're welcome to a very interesting session with Mr. Tim. I've had him once before and he's back here again. Today we are doing physical. Thank you so much for joining, Mr. Tim.
You're very welcome. It's good to be
Basically,
here.
today we want to discuss what to look out for, what people don't tell you about your first car. At one point in time, we've been in that situation where you just have to say, okay, I want to do this for the first time. So I'm thinking of the angle to come in from. I know there are several aspects to this. There is the fact aspect, there is the behind scene. There are some things that people don't tell you. There are some things that you just realize when you know, Yoruba people say, "Ojo ma car." And I know that the major for most people, their first car is always this budgeted one. It's not your dream, might not be your dream car. So where would you say we should come in from? Do you have a story to share with us around this?
Yes. So it is now this conversation is going to be very nuanced because we all don't belong to the same economic block.
Yeah.
We all don't do the same job. We have different purpose, we have different lifestyles.
Yeah.
But I will try as much as possible to be as objective and realistic as possible.
Yeah.
But we may not be able to cover everything. But I believe our audience will be able to extrapolate.
We even need them to raise some points because some people have experiences that are not very palatable.
True, very bad experiences. So, and then geography also plays a role. Using a Ford in Nigeria is rough play. Not because Ford is bad,
Yeah.
but because availability of technicians and parts. At least my experience. And then when I say Ford now, different models of Ford also have different behaviors and stuff. Now I use a Ford Windstar and I suffered.
Wow.
Because many technicians around where I lived in Ondo State, did not understand it. You get the idea now?
Yeah, I get it.
Even the spark plug, I had to be traveling out of town to buy it. But a person that lived in Lagos may enjoy it better than me that lived in Akure. Now, but imagine the guy that lives in the US that uses a Ford. We enjoy it better than the person that lives in Lagos because it's made and manufactured in. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
So those are the nuances. So I think the major things we'll look at is that when you're buying it, yes, you are right, that it's always a budgeted plan when people are buying a car. And it's because of the economic realities of many people, right? So I think one of the subheadings we're going to look at are one of the things you consider when buying a new car: purpose, your lifestyle, right? Costs, your budget, what you can afford, right? And we also talk about, should you buy used or new? Nigerian used or imported used?
How do we even know that they are used?
Yes. You understand and then the reality of maintenance.
Before we even shoot, there's a question on my mind. And somebody has asked me this question before. Right now, would you buy a land or buy a car?
Very good question. And I don't think
for someone that has not bought a car before.
There's no straight answer, to be honest. If you ask me now, would I buy a land or buy a car? I will pick a car first. I have a land, yes. But even if I don't have a land, I'll pick a car first.
So you tell us why. We also have a friend here that will tell us whether or not he will go for a car or a land. The first time the person asked me that question, I said, outright, I said land. Because there's this idea that has been sold to me that, when you have a land, long time, you appreciate, how would you appreciate? So I will allow you to tell us about it.
Yes. So land is an asset.
Yeah.
A car can also, underline the word can, capital letter bold, be an asset.
Okay.
A house can be a liability. It's true.
Okay.
A house can be a liability, just like
is it a house or a land?
A house.
Let's talk about land.
No, I'm coming there.
Okay.
I'm coming there. Land is an asset, but it can also be a liability. It depends on geography. But that is deeply nuanced, and I don't want to go there because I want us to live here quickly. But let me say house. That will explain what I mean when you separate on land. If a person builds a residential apartment in Orogun, and you rent it out for, say, 500k to 600k per year,
okay,
how long will it take you to make the money back you spend on the house? Trust me, you're not making profit on that building per year.
And there's a renovation cost.
Are you joking? If you're a good landlord.
And if you're a good landlord,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it can be a liability. The real asset in real estate is in commercial properties. These are the nonsense that people don't discuss. But we're not talking about real estate here.
But
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now, I say that to say that even about cars, people often assume that cars are liabilities, but they are not always liabilities. A car is a liability when you buy a vehicle out of purpose, especially also out of budget. Now, when I'm buying a vehicle, right? If I buy a car for 5 million naira, I can assure you that I probably have 20 million in my bank account at that point in time. Or I don't have 20 million, but I'm doing a business that the car will improve.
Okay.
Now, my wife sells snacks and stuff. I drive a Matrix 2002 or 2006, I can't remember the year. Toyota Matrix. It's hatchback.
Yeah.
So it helps the business. I can use it to move goods. But the car is getting old. I want to change it. Do you think I will buy a sedan? I won't buy a sedan.
So there's already a purpose attached.
Do you get it now? I will buy an SUV. Not because I want a car that is tall. Even though that's what it will look like. But because I need space more than what I used to have to carry more luggage. Does it make sense? And I'm a CEO of a tech company. I need to drive a car that presents me in a good way.
Very important.
And it's not clouds. It is you present yourself the way you want to be seen. Either you like it or not, you are addressed the way you are seen.
Yeah.
And in this my business, the car works with me. We've gone to places before. We went to Ikoyi Club one time like that, and our car was the worst.
Wow.
We have to shuttle it to another person's car.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So that we can enter the place. But you get the nuances. So I'm in that space. I need a good car that presents me well and a car that can function for my wife. So I'll buy a decent SUV. You understand what I'm trying to say now? Now, but if I have quality, good money, what would I do? I will buy a high quality sedan that is good for a CEO, then buy another that is good for the business that can carry luggage.
So this is why some people buy 2 cars.
Thank you.
It's luxury.
2 cars for a family like mine, it's not luxury. My daughter goes to school now, so one of us can drop her. But the time is coming that we will both get so busy that we will need a driver to be picking her. So we buy a smaller car that we can shuttle her to school, to her swimming lesson. It's not luxury. But then, context, I must be able to afford it. Because going to drop my daughter in school in the morning and picking her in the evening is costing me time that I can use to spend in my business and make more money. So if my business is doing well enough and I see that the finance makes sense, I can buy an extra car to steal or buy more time for myself to improve my value. But in the case where that's not the case, but I'm just buying it because it just looks like the next best thing, the liability setting. So because the business I'm doing can take care of those vehicles and fuel them. So do you get now? That vehicle that I'm buying for my wife, or we are buying to support that business, share that mad business, right? It helps us move goods quickly, right? We pay less if you look at the context now for logistics. Now, when you look at the numbers, you are paying more for logistics, but the comforts,
even the presentation
and the instance. So I want to send a good to somewhere in Ibadan now. I'm not waiting for the radar. Now I've called the radar now. I called him. This is 11:31. I called him 2 hours ago. Order is delayed. If I have the vehicle in-house and I have the goods would have gotten there by less than 30 minutes when I called, when I was ready. But then can the business pay for it? If yes, why not? The business, can it afford it? If no, can we get credits to buy it? If yes, when we buy it, is there a possibility that it will improve the business income? If yes, buy it.
So we are going somewhere with this. So you mentioned credits. And I know you are supposed to tell us if you buy. Let me allow you to tell us. Will you buy I know he has given you expo. Exactly. Will you buy a land or buy a car? At this point, you just got married and then, there's no so much. So tell us.
Initially, I would have said a land. But given the fact that he spoke before me, that changed my mind entirely.
Wow.
Because before now, the mindset of a young person is that car is a luxury if you don't have so many places you're going to.
Yeah.
But now, we went for a tour yesterday and around Ring Road, and we spent so much that if I had a car,
Yeah.
You spend less.
we spend less, that would have really helped us. And I've seen different scenarios like that, that we spend less having car and we're spending more because we don't have
Because
it.
it's one.
And there's just a way that having it could lessen your expenses,
Yeah.
then at times save time.
Save time, even give you comfort.
Exactly.
That makes sense eventually.
Exactly.
Because even in some cases where you will spend more having your own car because you have to maintain it, you have to buy fuel, the comfort, it buys your life back.
It buys your life back, and it's very true.
Yeah.
It
But
buys
there are
back
some
your life.
decisions you make when you are not comfortable that will cost you more money.
Sure.
That if only you are in the right state of mind, you make a better decision.
Yes, now and then the stress too of hopping from one public transport to another.
It's stressful.
The mental peace you have that if I need to be in my daughter's school right now, I'm not worried about getting a cab. I hop into my vehicle and I move. Because driving from here to my daughter's school costs me more money in terms of fuel than entering a cab. But
But
I'm being paid back. I don't know if it makes sense to you.
yeah.
So I think in that now more than in the Naira equivalence. Now let me finish the question. Sorry,
Okay.
before you go. Land is good.
Okay.
Land appreciates,
Yeah.
right? But right now I have an active business that needs to improve in a way that it needs to buy me the land I need to buy easily without stress.
Hey, you are opening another topic.
Because
Because I have questions around
you
it.
need to have the money you don't need
Yes,
to buy the land to keep.
yes.
So most of us think that when all these real estate guys, one guy said, I was listening to Adishino Okwemi, he said, any realtor you see is first thinking about himself or herself before thinking
you.
about how you will make money.
100%.
No matter how cheap they say the land, no matter how much it will appreciate, forget it. It's first about themselves.
Yes.
He said that is why it's best to invest money in your business to a point where the business can now buy the land for you rather than buying the land and suffering in your business.
Now, the context is if the land is not the business, this makes a lot of sense. If you are going into the business of agriculture, the land has to
The
come
land
first.
has to come, yeah, exactly.
But I'm in tech, right? I'm in tech, and I do buying and selling, and I do other things and stuff. We do photography, we do all these things. That's our core business. But we're looking at, we can make money from agriculture, right? This business has to be the one to buy the land and invest in agriculture.
Yeah.
The first thing is I will buy the car that improves this business, so I can do that. But if I am going into agriculture as a business, then the land is the first. If I want to go into real estate as a business, the land is the first. If I'm in this business and real estate is a hedge against inflation and other stuff, this business has to produce the funds to do that.
Yeah.
So that I don't take money out to buy the land, then cripple this guy from growing. Because that guy will not appreciate until some X number of years.
Yeah.
Why this guy is already dying. Why don't I get this guy into a position of authority and strength that it can buy the land? Another example. If you buy land in, like I think I can mention names of places now. If you buy land somewhere in Money now, right? If you have 1 million now, 1 million is small. If you have 1.5 million to 2 million, you can buy some land in some places in Money right? That same money will not buy land in Bodija, but they're not the same economic value.
True.
So instead of starving myself and my business now and raising money to buy land in that place that is even still cheaper, I can put the money. I'm not discouraging people from buying land. I hope you understand my context.
Yeah, very well. But people need to know this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, I can put that money in my business now to improve this business, so that potentially in a year or two it can buy the 60 million land in Bodija.
Hopefully the business does not die.
Do you get the idea now?
Yeah.
Do you get the idea?
Yeah,
But you take, it's your business.
Yeah.
If you can't put the money in it, then why are you in the business?
We're actually risking our life every single day.
Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the way I think. But let's now say the business still cannot afford to buy the 60 million naira land in Bodija, but it will have more money to even buy multiples of that 2 million in that same location. Last, you are improving your position.
Yeah.
And so self-leadership will teach you what to do eventually, sha. So
Let's pivot, and still on financing. You mentioned credit. Is it wise? Because what you might say something now that I might just go and meet one baba and say, borrow me money, I want to buy my. Is it wise to take loan to buy car or to collect ajo and borrow additional money and buy car while you are still paying back the ajo?
yeah, context also.
Yeah.
Is the car an asset? If so, yes, it makes sense to borrow. Right? Or what borrow is big? Credit.
Yeah.
Sure you get. If it is not an asset, it is a very foolish thing to do. Because when you buy a new car, now this people also say buy used, don't buy new. I also disagree, buy new if you can afford it. But let's not go there yet. The moment you drive a car out of the lot,
Yeah.
the value drops by sometimes 50%. But it depends on if it is new or used. Right? So because if you understand that, you will be like, I can't borrow money to buy a car. Sure you get. But then even despite that, if the car is an asset, you can borrow to buy. Companies buy cars on credit. They are not foolish. You understand what I'm saying?
We probably need to define what an asset is.
An asset is anything that improves in value, right? Or improves your value, makes you more money. So appreciate the value.
If it does not make you more money but improves your own value, is it an asset?
Yes, it is.
What do you think? It's not making you money, but it improves your value. And when your value improves, it will generate money immediately.
No, you are getting it wrong. If you improve your value, you should make money. Either now or in the shortest time. I will give an example.
Okay.
If I buy a new car now, right? It doesn't make me money because I'm not using it for Uber or public transport.
Yeah.
In fact, the only way your car will make you money now when you buy it is if you use it for Uber. But it improves my value as a business person. And I'm using it to buy goods and sell goods in Shadamat. Is it directly making me money? No. But it improves the value of my business. Not even me, my business. It helps my business to make more money. That's why I said if it improves your value, it should make you money. But let's say we're not talking about Shadamat. Let's talk about I'm a CEO of the company. I need to be presentable in certain places. There are some places you go to that when they see you coming out of your car, they form an opinion about you. That everything you say after is looked through the lens of what they thought about you. So when I drive a good car to such places, either mine or borrowed or loaned, it improves my value. Doesn't make me money, no. But the potential is X times 100 of the value of the car.
True.
Because when I enter that place, I buy a car of 25 million now, I borrow to buy it. And I go into a meeting, bid for a contract, and I win 800 million. Have I made money? Yes. Has the car contributed to it potentially?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
That means buying a car, there has to be, like you mentioned, there has to be a purpose.
It has to be.
You don't buy a car because you
feel like,
not even because you need it, but there is an idea, there is a plan behind that car.
Yes.
Even if it is expensive, there is a goal behind it.
Crypto Union is a big organization. They have traveling secretaries and they buy them cars.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I was born and bred in Crypto Union. We are not very rich, but we buy cars for all our traveling secretaries because they travel. One person covers like 2 states or 1 state. So they travel. It's more expensive to buy a car for them because they will maintain it, they will buy fuel. But why? Because they are mobile. They can quickly get to places quickly. It improves the value of their work and their ministry, even though they're spending more on it. Okay. So eventually it pays off. It pays. So we must begin to not think one way. You must be able to address the nuances around it. We are not saying that it will cost you more money when you buy it, but what is the long-term potential?
So
that is where self-leadership comes. I'm sorry to cut you short. Because you cannot say Mr. Tim said this and then you do self-leadership. Be able to look at actually, truly in your heart of hearts, why are you buying it?
Yeah.
Is it because you want to stop trekking or
you want to make a statement?
Yeah.
So what is your advice? how can one actually plan to buy? Is there a way one can plan to buy a car?
Oh yeah, I think you can plan to buy
Should
a
we
car.
put a salary to it? Or
Um,
just speak then. If there's a need, you can just put context to it.
yeah, it may be hard to put a salary to it, but I want to say that I'm looking at my life currently. How much do I spend on fuel per month? If I fill my tank in my vehicle right now, my engine is old, for instance. The car is old. The engine is old, so it consumes more fuel relatively, right? So if I fill my tank, I'll be spending like 40 something thousand naira, 50K to fill the tank,
Okay.
right? On the average, it's a small tank, and that will take me for my regular. If I don't travel out of Ibadan, right, to take me say 2 weeks plus,
Wow.
or roughly 3 weeks. So in a month, I'm spending like 70K on fuel. On the
Let's say
average.
even 100K if you move a
Yeah.
lot here.
Yeah. But that's for someone that can actually afford to fill his tank.
So if
And
your salary is 100K, don't even think of
don't, I would say don't do it.
don't do it.
Except it's for a business, and the business is paying for it.
Paying for it.
See, there's always a nuance around it,
Exactly.
right? It's a business, and the business is paying for it. Why not? But if you are the individual and it's not for a business, it's for your comfort. Because who says you can also buy a car for personal comfort? Maybe not for a business. If you can afford it, why not? Like I said, comfort buys back your life.
Yeah.
Every stress takes off your unless you live long shorter. So you can buy a car for the simplicity of comfort. There's nothing wrong with it as long as you can afford it.
So how do we plan to buy the car now?
Yeah. So I don't think that. So you can save to buy a car. You understand? You can save monthly to buy a car.
How long would that take?
With the way the cost skyrockets.
Skyrockets. Yeah, you can save to buy a car.
That's why
You can
I was
afford it.
thinking borrowing might be an option.
Yeah, it can be an option only if it's an asset. Credit is expensive. Credit is expensive. So when you're borrowing, imagine that you borrow at 20%. That's crazy. Borrowing is expensive. Shake. So when you're buying a car, make sure that the car is truly an asset. I don't recommend that a person that wants comfort should borrow to buy, except if he earns enough to cover for it. Sure, you understand? Yeah. Because there's a difference between buying a car and being able to maintain it.
True.
So you have been able to save or borrow to buy it, and you're able to pay off the loan. Now, can you maintain it? Right? A light truck tire, right? I just bought recently, and it's not new. It's foreign use. That I used to buy, I could buy at some point. In fact, the last one I bought 3 years ago was 18,000. Now I bought it for 35K.
Wow.
And the tire will not warn you when it will blow up. Let me say may not warn you. An accident can happen. I'm saying that the owning a car is a big responsibility.
Big responsibility.
Big responsibility. So can you cover the cost? Can you at the blink of an eye spend 100K on your car? Emergency spend. Either from friends, can you raise 100K in an instant at any given time, even when you are broke? Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So context is very important, right? So if you're buying it, is it an asset? That is, does it make you money through a business directly, or does it make money indirectly because of the kind of work you do? Number one. Number two, are you buying it for comfort? It's not a bad thing, to be honest. I'm a proponent of comfort. Even to serve God, it's also good to serve God from a place of comfort.
Yeah.
When God speaks, you will hear clearly.
Yeah.
But you have not eaten, and you say you will hear from God. I will question your. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're preaching to a. Sorry, I'm going off track.
Yeah. Actually, an hungry man looks at everything from a lean perspective.
Even when you are preaching to a hungry man, for him to hear you, better buy him gala and coke.
At least for sustenance.
So you see where I'm coming from, Abi? So that's it. So I believe in comfort. I think everybody should strive to be comfortable. We did not come to this life to suffer. But even at that, can you actually afford it? So that your escape from discomfort will not put you further into discomfort. Sure, you understand what I'm saying?
So let's talk about numbers. You have not answered the question.
It's deeply nuanced. deeply nuanced.
So someone is watching this, and I want you to also drop comments.
If you
as
make
your
$500,000 minimum,
Okay, 500K salary minimum.
minimum. You should be able, be able to own a car. I'm not saying buy you.
I know someone that hands that to, and the person will probably watch this. 500K wants to buy a car.
You'll be able to own it.
How long? How fast? What kind of car can person?
So now I can't really say into the buying because if I earn 500K per month, it's still not enough to buy a car. But you can save for it. But even save is going to take you so long, right, to buy it. So that kind of person can take, if you take a car, 500K is small, sha. Thinking about it now is small.
This
That's like half a million.
Yes, but it's small. Nigeria is bad now. They are saying that buying a car now in Nigeria, Nigerian used, you're spending 6 million.
Wow.
Clean Nigerian used, and I say because there are different killers. A Camry 2.4, what we call envelope. A clean, very clean one. Me and a friend of mine, senior friend of mine, we bought it for 5 point something million earlier in the year. Not very early, but earlier in the year. Clean motor. So 5 points. Am I correct? 5 point something. I hope he's watching, or maybe he watch and correct me, but it's not less than 5 million naira, but 5 point something million naira. And I know we got it at a good price. Now there are cheaper ones that are not very clean. But how much problem do you want to deal with in your life? So the cleaner the better. Imported, used, you can't get less than 7 to 8 million. The same brand. Now new, keep your 20 million. Now I don't have that figure right, but I'm giving an estimate. Now you that earn 500K, how do you want to buy that kind of car if you don't borrow? You get what I'm trying to say now?
Yeah.
But if you earn like a million or above 500K, if you're able to borrow, you may, if you get a good payment plan, that could work. But it must be an asset. You understand what I'm saying? Or you get the context. But let's say you own it already and you earn 500K a month, you'll be able to take care of it. So you see the nuances, I think? Yeah. Those are the issues.
So let's talk about the kind of car, is depending. So let's look at the economic aspect and durability.
Yeah. So economics and durability. I can mention names of brands, yeah. So if I say on top of the list, now, like we all know, I can verify this, right? On top of the list is, I would say, Toyota Corolla. I drive a Matrix right now, and the engine in the Toyota Corolla 2006, I think this is 2006, and the Matrix 2002, and a Pontiac, the same engine. Okay. The same exact engine. You can pick the engine from this one and drop this one, and they will work perfectly fine. So they are very durable, and I can say this even from personal experience. I've used a Corolla, and I've driven the Corolla for a long time, and I've used a Matrix for up to 6 years now, right, or more. I can tell you for a fact that that engine is solid. That is why you mostly sit on the road for Uber. Yeah. That's why it's popular. The technicians, the mechanics are abundantly available. The parts are also abundantly available and affordable to buy. And they are flexible cars. I've seen where people work other parts into them. I don't recommend it. It is not good, but it tells you how flexible it is. They are not very cheap to buy, but they are cheap in terms of it's relatively cheap. But when I say cheap now, I don't mean cheap. I mean affordable. Now there are more affordable vehicles than them.
And the list of the affordability is what you mentioned, like 60 million.
So if you're buying clean, if you're buying imported for that same Corolla, I did not check the number before coming on this podcast, but you should be getting maybe 8 million, 7 million. Nigerian used that is very clean, maybe 5 to 6 million thereabouts. Nigerian used that is not very clean, 3 million and above. I don't think you get a car for 2 million. If you see someone
I follow someone to buy Micra.
I don't even think I'm buying
Micra last year. And we bought it for I think 3.5 million.
So imagine now buying Corolla. So Corolla you buy for 3 point something million would be something that somebody has really used. And probably there's a problem with it. But if you can buy it and you know the problem and you can deal with the problem, why not? But I'm saying, don't buy Corolla now, Nigerian use, keep 5 million, 6 million. 6 million. Let's just say 6 million for safe. Now, these numbers are not immediately verifiable. These are numbers I'm referencing a few months ago. You understand what I'm saying? I have not been doing this research on a real-time basis. So you understand what I'm saying? So Toyota Corolla is number one on my list. Now, I'll also tell you the problems with these cars, right? With buying them. Because they are very popular, and they are very good and they are reliable, the demand is high,
Yeah.
which
so-
makes them attractive to theft. People that want to steal them.
Wow.
Yeah. So the second one on the list will be a Honda.
No, talking
Accord.
about that theft, is it that there are no security measures in the car or?
No, I think almost any car can be stolen. The right person can steal almost anything. The right person will steal the right car or any car.
Wait, oh, without the key.
It's even easier.
Ah,
Yes, my electronics, I can clone. Keys are easy to clone now.
that's why I said the right person.
Exactly.
Right. Oh wow.
The right person can steal the right car.
Wow.
Right. This is gone. You don't even need the remote to steal a car. You can pick the locks. My cousin's car was stolen in front of his house last year now. Yeah. Toyota Camry 2.2. I was stolen without the key. They picked the lock.
Wow.
Picked the lock. There's a big market for stolen vehicles in Nigeria. Very, very big market.
Wow.
Very big market. And this your regular mechanics that are doctor there. So let's move on. So
I'm getting emotional when you say for someone like just buying for the first time, you
Yeah,
don't
that
save
was
to buy and
that was his first car.
wow,
That was his first. It was really painful.
it's painful.
And then so Toyota Camry. So like Camry is also a good car, but I'll
Yeah.
pick Honda before Camry.
Okay.
Honda is really good. People shit a lot on Honda.
You know, I think I've seen Honda. There's this ball joint I used to remove. I don't know if it's to all Hondas.
Yeah. So and it's because Nigerians are generally careless and our roads are bad.
But it
next
doesn't
time-
happen with Toyota most times.
You are right, it doesn't happen with Toyota. But there are some things about Honda that beats Toyota.
Okay.
Toyota Corolla is at top of the list because, right, of course, the ball joints, the legs are really strong, right? They don't break down the way these other guys break down. The legs, right? And the mechanics are available, the parts are readily available. But the same with that same Honda. The parts are available, they're relatively affordable, the mechanics are also very available. The problem with it is that leg. But even that leg, a good maintainer of his car will not have that problem. Because it doesn't just fail, it gives you signs. But you treat it like a Toyota. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So those are the issues. But it beats the Corolla even in fuel economy.
Oh.
Yes. Honda Accord. It's like it doesn't use fuel, though. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's
How do
reliable.
you plan this when you are buying your car? Is it something you write down and say, okay, like how do you plan it?
Yes, you should plan it. You should consult technicians, trusted technicians. They will ask you these questions I'm asking you. What purpose? Is it for personal commuting? Now, personal commuting, is it for going to the office and coming back, taking your children to school, or business? This will also affect what you buy. You understand what I'm saying? Are you traveling a lot? This will affect what you buy. Sure, you get. Honda, good for long travels too. But you must be careful also to maintain it every time. So, for you to use the Honda Accord very well, you must be someone of very high maintenance culture. Any care, you go and fix. Change the legs regularly. But it's relatively affordable. But you should do the same thing even for your Toyota. I'm saying that any car you use,
Yes,
you must have that
maintenance,
culture. But we are careless people. And Honda will expose us.
No, when you delay the maintenance, you can save some money. Then
Me, I believe that every month you should have a budget for your car if you have a car. Even when you don't have to do anything, budget for it. The budget will come in handy when there's an emergency. Because there will never be an emergency because you have the money stock up somewhere.
That's good. So like how much? Looking at today's economy.
If you're earning like $500,000, you should not budget. I'm not saying fuel low, budget for maintenance. It's different too. If you have 10% of your income, should be able to save for your car. Yeah. But and this is just me. I mean, please feel free to budget whatever amount. But this is me speaking, right? If you have earn 500K, now I'm saying all this, we are not talking about how much you pay for rent. Because when we begin to talk about how much you spend on other things, then these numbers begin to adjust. I am doing this blinding myself to other things because when we add those things to this conversation, it becomes more complex.
Those other things.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why in Nigeria, if you want to, inflation is a terrible thing. Because saying 500k is not good money, it's painful.
It's painful.
But in reality, not to own a car in Nigeria, you can't be earning less than 500k to own a car.
Back then, when you hear $500,000, you say, bro.
Yeah,
now it's trash.
It's painful. It's painful. It's a painful thing to say. And I'm saying this with also every sense of humility, and I'm not trying to be condescending, but it's a fact. It's a fact. So yeah, talking about cost, Abi.
Yeah.
So this now going to cost. Abi, we talk about durability.
Yeah.
Abi,
Mention Toyota, Camry,
and Honda.
Yeah.
Then you can go back to Camry after
Camry, yeah.
Honda.
Okay.
Go to Camry after Honda. I think we can stop it there. Top 3.
Okay. So I want.
And they have second-hand value. I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
There are cars you can use and sell, and they will still sell for good price.
Those cars you can sell for good price after you for a while.
Yeah.
So someone said you rather buy Benz, even though Benz is expensive, but the maintenance for Benz is cheaper because when you buy a part of Benz, it lasts longer than when you buy for Toyota.
For a person, everything is true. For a person that has good maintenance culture, doesn't fly bumps, drives well, it's not rough. Because if you bash your Benz, oh Jesus.
Okay.
The parts for a Benz are more expensive relatively, but they don't just break down regularly. But I would recommend a young man that is starting life to buy Benz.
Except if the salary can carry it.
They're more expensive to buy,
income.
relatively. They're more expensive to buy, right? Yeah, and it's long I drove a Benz, but they don't consume fuel as much as they used to consume fuel. But they still consume fuel more than the Honda. I'm sure you get. So I would recommend like a young one that is starting life should do that. Buying a Benz will be maybe you have a business and you, like I said earlier, you need to present yourself in a certain way, and it's a requirement for what you do. Why not? A Benz is good. Sure you get. And yeah.
So are there some, because so we titled this, what
No one tells you.
no one tells you. Are there some other things that no one tells you? So was it last year I wanted to buy a car or
Yeah.
2 years ago?
Last
Nissan
year.
Rogue.
Yeah.
So I bought some stuff from a lady that was traveling out. So when I came outside, I saw the car. I said, Alpha, are you selling this too? Jokingly. And he said, am I interested? I said, I'm interested. I said, how much? She said, for me, because of the other things I bought, I should bring 2 million. And it was a steal because she has not driven it so much, it was still relatively clean and all that. I didn't have the money. I just said, let it go. Early this year, my neighbor wanted to sell exactly the same car. And I asked him how much. He said 7.5 million. He said, right.
I see that out the road. I regret the choice.
So I was now talking to a mechanic and he said, thank God I didn't buy it. I said, why? He said, if I had bought it, driving that kind of car in rainy season will pose more challenge because does not have strength or resistance against water or something like that.
True. Design it's not expensive to buy. It depends on the model you're buying. It depends on the model you're buying, right? But maintenance cost can be steep. So I would not recommend it for a first-time buyer. But now this is a game of choice, to be honest. I would recommend it for a first-time buyer. But now I am saying umbrella, but there are still some models in between that are really good. Right? But for that particular Rogue, I would not have recommended you to buy it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, but for me, I could have bought it then because it would have just supported the business. Sure, you get. We may be able, the business may have been able to swallow the costs, but then the problem too another reason why I should not, or I would have advised myself not to buy them was this issue you mentioned. Nigerian roads are bad, right? Easy flooding, So driving a car and rain is about to fall, just start praying.
Why?
No floor though, no floor though. You understand what I'm saying? So those are the issues. So yes, I would not recommend you to buy that car as a first car. Not because it's a bad vehicle, but then there are issues as a first time car owner may not be able to foresee, right, or handle. Those are the
So,
issues.
so there are some cars that are best for maybe additional cars or
Yes, additional
added
cars
to
support what you have. Yeah, yeah.
So, YK, are there some things you want us to talk about? For me, I think we've dived into so many things, just that we are not able to go deep into each of them because of time.
Yes, there's one question on my mind now about you mentioned
Hmm.
buying new Nigerian use and foreign use.
Hmm.
Why should you go for either of those ones? Why would you go for foreign use? Why would you go for Nigerian use and why?
Don't buy Nigerian use if you can. Is already sorry that he came to Nigeria.
What a pity. What a pity.
Sure, you understand what I'm saying. But then, of course, economics sometimes binds us
Mm.
to certain choices. So I'm not shitting on it. I'm just saying that if you can afford not to, don't buy Nigerian used, buy foreign used. And I'm not saying foreign used are generally better because it may be flooded car. You don't know. There's a way to know. Your mechanic should be able to tell you that. But as a rule of thumb, relatively, if it's from UK or US, you can almost assume that the mileage is not as high. One. Number two, roads, the legs are probably still what came from factory. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
New is the almost best. Why do people say buy new? And because the value drops immediately you come out of the car lot, it's not worth it, but then it lasts too long. A car that is well maintained, new, can use 7 years without touching anything in it rather than maintaining it. Yes. A senior friend once told me that his brother's vehicle spent 7 years and the only thing he changed just the oil and the oil filter. The coolant in the radiator was still the same from the day it was bought. It was bought new. And he's a man that is a good maintainer of a good car.
Yeah.
So if you buy a new car, you will use the worth of the money. You will sell it without changing anything in the car. If nothing spectacular happens, no accidents, no fire, regular stuff, the hair. So that's why new cars will always be the best, provided you can afford it, right? But then the next category is foreign used, then last is Nigerian used. Nigerian used car, you don't drive Lagos Ibadan Expressway, bad road. It's almost sorry. The body's already squeaky. Even though you may not hear it squeak, but so those are the issues. Those are the issues. So if I have the means, I will always buy a new car. But the economics is always the difference. Nothing else should matter except the economics, what you can afford at any given time. So I will vote for a new car any day, anytime.
I have one follow-up question on that. Quite funny, but then if today Nigerian government starts to charge tax on car, now because I was on social media one day and I saw we'll begin to charge tax on naming ceremony, wedding ceremony.
Very
Are you serious?
I saw it.
Given the fact that the roads are bad, the
Mm.
government is already doing us a very great service on that. They
Mhm.
spoil our cars anyhow. Now they are charging tax on car. Would you consider using car?
I will. I will. I will consider using a car or buying a car despite the taxes,
Hmm.
provided everything we said earlier. It's an asset, makes my life better, and a cost benefit.
Yeah.
Sure, you understand what I'm saying? So the tax added to it makes it more difficult to buy it, adds to the things you will consider. Sure, you understand? That means you're buying the car for X amount. If it's 50% tax, X plus 50% of X, that's the real cost of the car. And then you must consider that. Is it worth it? Can I afford it? So it makes it difficult to buy. But then, if it's worth it, why not? Still buy it. It improves your life, it buys back your life, like I always say. Yeah, so that's it.
Awesome, awesome. For me, I'm good. Thank you so much. But are there some other things or one or two things you still like to say that we probably did not ask you or probably want to touch on?
Yes, on the conversation of buy car or buy land, I would say that, lastly, self-leadership is the main thing. People make decisions because of what other people are saying or what other people are doing.
Very true.
And that's what we call head mentality. Not do what your head is doing. Right? It is not wisdom to do things because others are doing it. You must be able to look at your own unique position or unique reality to make these decisions. So buy land if it is the next thing, not because what people are saying, not for peer pressure. Land is valuable. I will tell you that for a fact. Land does not depreciate. But what comes first is the question. Land may not come first. Right? What is the use of land that you can't develop? Except if you are into flipping land. You understand what I'm trying to say? So those are the issues, because I've seen people starve themselves to buy land, right? And then, God forbid, they now die. They die poor. And they didn't live a fruitful life. No business to do anything. Or they buy land, then they don't have money to do business. Then they have to sell the land off before the land appreciates to fund business. That's a loss. Because if you calculate inflation from when you bought land and when you sold it, you've lost money. You understand what I'm saying? So there are so many nuances. That's why I would say build a business or a career that gives you daily money first, then begin to invest in land with money that is excess, not money that should have gone into business. So that's why I say self-leadership is make right. Also doing things that you know are true, even when nobody is supervising. The ability to do the right thing without supervision is what self-leadership is. So if you understand self-leadership, that question will be an easy answer. So
it doesn't have to be the popular answer.
It doesn't have to be
specific to what.
Will I buy land today? Yes. Do I have land? Yes, I do. Right? But if I'm in a position where, with this my current reality, I don't have a car and I don't have land, if I want to buy, the first thing is the car I will buy first. Because it dramatically improves my business and how I conduct my business today, and it helps me the better opportunity to buy land in a quality place.
So lastly, for those that already have a car, how do you maintain your car?
I would say that, see, when it comes to maintenance, people usually only have one mechanic that does everything. It is not wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah. There are brake specialists, right? There are piston engine specialists. There are specialists for your legs, the shock absorbers, the bushing, the linkages, and the linkages, that's the brake system, right? There are people that their job is to take care of the fuel filter area and stuff. There are the rewires, the electricians, the electric technicians, and so on. So they are the gear experts, they are the steering experts. So many experts. What I recommend is when you're maintaining your car, things you should do is have the specialists, know them, right? Don't give your car to a generalist every time. So, and I've been guilty of this before in the past until recently, right? And then when you have a mechanic, have options. Know their strengths and their weaknesses. When you have a leg problem, know who to go to. When it's an engine problem, know who to go to, right? When it's a battery problem, know who to go to. The electric problem, know who to go to. Understand your car. Don't be foolish.
So the way you're even saying it, it's like you're marrying a new wife. Like, say, understand your car.
I'm serious though. Your car should be your baby. If not, it will cost you the money for your food. Yeah, understand your vehicle very well. It's a baby, it's a child that has to be nurtured. And I used to name my cars in the past. Those days when I was not a good Christian, I likened my car to a babe that has big backside and big frontal lobe.
Wow. But all of these.
So I love cars, and
what most people would have to make the mistake first.
Sorry,
most people will have to make the mistake first before now get the right person.
Yes, and it's not necessary to make the mistake first, because you can ask questions from people.
Yeah.
If you drive a particular car, ask people that use the car, or before even buying it, ask people that have used it. What are your experiences, and so on and so forth. So ask questions. Be ready to learn, but be very sensitive to it. If I'm driving and I hear a noise, I can almost tell you what the noise is coming from. and I'm 90% usually always right because of past experiences. I drove a Benz 230 for a very long time. After that, I drove a Ford Windstar that stressed my destiny. Then I used the Peugeot 206. Then before this Matrix.
Wow.
So these experiences have taught me a lot of things. When you hear an unusual sound in your car, don't ignore it. Even though the car is still driving, don't ignore it. Take it serious. Right? Over time, you'll begin to observe, and then don't be oblivious. When your mechanic tells you something, verify it. When you take your car to the mechanic and they fix it, ask them, what did they fix? Where is the part they removed? Ask those questions because you are training yourself. The day you will find yourself in a jungle and your car breaks down and you call your mechanic, he will ask you some questions before come, so he knows the tools to bring or who to bring. You should be able to answer him intelligently to make his work easy.
It's just like understanding your body also.
Yeah.
When you are feeling stomach ache, is a result of something caused it, and you know what to sharply do at least for the moment.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So that's why I say don't be foolish. Is that it's not an insult. It is that don't be oblivious, don't be careless. Right. Pay attention to the sounds you are hearing. The people whose car will just give way on the road, the legs, they must have been hearing the sound. Although you can't blame some people, their mechanics messed up sometimes. But I'm saying that sometimes also we've been getting the warnings, we've been seeing the signs, we're hearing the noise, but we didn't pay attention to it.
I think it's been an awesome, discussion so far. Most people might not feel it's necessary to have a discussion around how to maintain your car, but like you said, if you don't learn how to maintain it, it's going to cost you the money for your food. And I don't think anybody wants to be in a position where you have a car and somebody is asking you, where is your car? Because maybe you will not be exactly. I'm very annoying. That was your own. You say, where is the alpha? What's your car? What's happening? And you have to start explaining, mechanic workshop and all that. So it's been an awesome time. Do you have any other question? And it's very funny how I studied mechanical engineering and I'm getting emotional because I wanted to learn this car thing. I did a professional course for 3 months. When I entered on that car for like maybe 10 times in a week or so, I said, no, this is not my destiny. I'm not you create me to come and be enter.
Yeah, but you don't have to be a technician, you can be an engineer.
I also discovered that
the science
the cost to start it, the capital to start it is enormous.
Yeah. But did you choose mechanical engineering or your school gave it to you?
So I chose it because my brother studied petroleum engineering, and I asked him what other courses, more advanced, or which engineering course is the mother of engineering. He said mechanical. I said I was mechanical. So I wanted to prove a point. So I proved it.
So you didn't choose it from a place of understanding.
It was not
So you wouldn't have studied. If you had to study something today, if you're going back to school, what would you study?
I'll probably study either business admin or media.
Serious?
It's as simple as that.
If I was going back
to theology.
I don't, it's clear. But if I'm going back to school today, guess what I was studying?
What?
Guess now. I said you guess.
Web or coding
You
or
would not
something.
study software engineering.
He knows me.
Really?
I won't study software engineering. I'll study economics.
I didn't see that coming.
I know you won't see it coming.
So another course I'll probably study is psychology.
But what were you thinking of taking?
I was thinking of something more in business area.
Oh, I will study economics. You study psychology. You're going to school today,
Yes,
right? I'll pick economics because it's the study of management of resources and capital. And that's all business is all about. Yeah. So even in software, I will still be able to do software while studying economics. Anybody can study software engineering.
All right, thank you so much. We will end this year. It's been an awesome discussion. We'll probably still have more discussion around this. We can't exhaust all that there is. And I want you to drop comments, tell us your experience, and let's see how this has been valuable to you. Thank you so much, Mr. Tim.
Thank you.
Mikey, thank you so much. I'll say you should just show your face more, but
It's not necessary.
it's not necessary. All right, thank you. End this here. Boom, 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 boom.